Seeing none, so we will move on to the approval of the March 9th minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for March 9th.
I have a motion. Second, just one thing that I noticed for the May 9th thing, I think you wrote March 9th. Just be it.
In the minutes?
Yeah, I should have. Okay, it must be under number 9, staff comments. Is that,
Oh, yeah, it should be.
was that March 9th? Was that from
March
the
9th
past?
is our
That
BID
was the meeting.
Yeah, it was the
That just
meeting.
needs to be changed to April 13th.
Okay, so maybe that's not the one I was looking at. I thought I saw somewhere that it had the
No,
wrong-
that is a typo, because, Corey,
Should
board
say
members
April,
to,
right?
yeah, that should say April 13th for today.
Okay, so maybe that was it then. Okay, that was the only change. I'm sorry, so I probably should have said that first. Would you like to amend your motion?
Yeah, I'll amend my motion to include the change of date under staff comments to April 13th.
Works for me.
All right, so Dennis seconded on that. All in favor? Any more discussion? Sorry about that.
Second.
Okay. Any opposed? Sorry. I'm sleeping today. Any opposed? No. Motion passes. I will get back on track
doing
somehow.
good.
Holy cow.
Doing good.
Okay, are you getting copies for the?
Yes, I printed out what you sent me this morning.
So the report on the founding negotiations, I made some calls. Gary was out of town. His secretary had me email a message to him, which I did, and then his response is what's in front of you, which just reads, Wendy Price, I'm sorry for the position you are in, but I believe we fulfilled our obligation to the project. Thanks to the negative publicity that we received, we are no longer willing to help in any way. I did not respond to this. Doug and I felt it's probably not gonna get anywhere. I was hoping to talk to him about, and I'm hoping you have information on warranties, how to care for them. We have all that kind of information.
I had sent it, I don't remember if it was part of a BID meeting or just a email back and forth from Gary, but he gave us the parameters of all of those things, so I can resend it to you guys if you wanna send it out to the board.
Sure.
Just so that there's information there. I can't off the top of my head remember all the details of it, so I'd have to review it to know what's actually included.
Okay, yeah, because I think it's something that we probably should know. We need to make sure that we put the right people in place to take care of these so that they.
Yeah.
So what Doug and I found in the end, and the conversation we would have been able to have with him, I think, if he was willing, after narrowing everything down, the coyotes are the biggest problem. If you have been up there, Sacagawea is gorgeous. She is the right color, the right tones, and that's what the coyotes were supposed to look like, and they're just flat gold. Just gold. And so one of the questions we were maybe gonna ask is how did that difference happen when there was one color ordered for all of them? How did they get to be in so different? Maybe he could have given us an answer that we could have understood.
Those originally didn't have much color. They were bronze.
Okay, not gold. And we did ask for bronze, and so, there may be reasons, but we may never know now because he won't talk to us.
Well, I have to be there. I have to take Sharon down to. I've got statues down there that he's doing for us, for the library.
This is the third time he's told people that he will not help in any way.
So
Like on
what
the-
is he talking about the negative publicity?
There was an article in the Tribune that did not paint him in a good light.
And who decided to let them print something like that?
I didn't get to make that decision.
Yeah, we didn't get to make that decision. One of the artists spoke with them.
I didn't feel that it was that slanted, but he did, evidently.
When I read it, I was like, ooh, like,
It was not good.
it was not good. It was not,
And it's not that
Positive in any
the
sort of
facts
amount.
may have been accurate, it was how it was presented, it wasn't, that wasn't
Yeah.
as accurate as it could have been. I don't know, anybody have any opinions? I'm happy to try to continue a conversation with him. But again, like I said, this is the third time he has been adamant.
yeah, that he's done with that.
So this is also a reason why we wanted to know about guarantees, warranties, anything like that, how to care for them. I think it's an important piece.
So I will get that
I have a distinct
information to you.
feeling that Sharon will say one day, I want them out of there and I'll pay for them myself. But I don't want it to go to that. I think that's not.
So do you have any other suggestions?
Well, as I say, it's gonna be a little awkward because I'm down there working with him sometime in the next month and a half, with Sharon.
I'm a non-confrontational business person and this is what I thought.
And we are, you know, I mean, we've always had just a really great relationship with him, but
He has it stuck in his head. And they were hard times, I know, and I fully expected to hear how hard it was and to find people to do things and then to train them.
that's part of the problem is that he lost all of his
Yeah,
season.
we all went
seasoned
through
people.
that and we can understand those things, but a conversation helps it and we're not, it doesn't look like we're gonna get that, so.
Certainly disappointed, but I don't know at this point, beating him over the head probably doesn't do anything except frustrate us.
I think he feels like he's been beat over the head.
Yeah. So maybe Brenda will find the previous information, so if there is a warranty that we can utilize, or at very least, some information regarding how
Yeah,
the care of the
care.
statute needs to happen, at least we can get that information, make sure that gets to whoever in Parks is gonna be in charge of that. And that might just be the road that we need to go, and
And then let me know if you don't have that and
I
I'd be happy to keep this dialogue going with something like that.
It was in one of our, I wanna say, one of the last few meetings of last year, when we were trying to figure out what the next steps were gonna be. So again, I'll forward that information so that everyone has it.
All right, awesome. Anything else on that? Any other ideas? All right, financials, Brenda, you are up.
Okay, so the packet includes some invoices. Thank you for listing them out on the agenda. think
I
it's
thought
a
that
lot-
would make it easier.
Yes, thank
And that's
you.
how we do it, there aren't a lot of commissions or boards that, pay individual
This is
bills,
not-
but this is how, the URA does it, and so,
Yeah,
I
that's-
noticed over the last couple meetings,
You can have mine.
you guys stumbled over the invoices a little bit, so I felt like it might be easier if we listed all of them out individually, and that way people, really understand what exactly we're paying. And then Brenda and I talked about adding a, column to the ledger that shows those totals. So we can see as we're paying things out, the board understands, kind of where those balances are for each of the, areas, because they do have, budgets that go with them.
Right. And all of the invoices are also listed on the general ledger that's in your packet as well. So I'm happy to answer any questions on the invoices that are being presented in the packet. I've also included a statement of the account. And then the hours for March as well.
So is this, we're paying Neon?
So that would be the CRM software that we use to do all of our,
And so does the BID pay
Tracking.
all of that
yes.
all the time?
And And I did notice, in previous packets, the, the QuickBooks charge was, I believe, $40, that was being billed, but that's BDL's portion. The BID portion of it with the new books and the accounting is actually 85. So we've been under billing the BID. I'm not too worried about it just because it's less than, but I can go back and or I guess moving forward at our next meeting, I can include a statement that says that. As I was going through the ledger, I noticed, I have the same ones in there like Neon, QuickBooks, I believe are the two recurring. And I noticed it said $40 instead of 85.
Got $42.50
Yeah,
for
$42.50
January and February, and then it does change to 85.
To 85, which is the charge for the BID portion of QuickBooks. I'll include that in next month's packet just to make sure we reflect that underbilled, I guess. Nothing owed, obviously.
QuickBooks is not
We're
cheap.
still, no,
With Dinner in the Dark, were we able to start getting advertising on that
what was that?
for the BID? Were we able to start getting
Yes,
advertising and
so-
stuff for?
Yes, and then I kind of, at the event, I kind of touched on it a little bit. I had a few people that were part of the event come up to me and ask me more questions. How do I get on a newsletter? All that type of thing. So as well as the website has any events that are being billed to the BID, at the very top of the website says this event partially funded by Business Improvement District with the BID logo and the whole bit.
I
So
apologize, I haven't seen it.
it's okay.
I'm busy, so.
It's all right. No worries. Yeah, we wanted to make sure to include that, and then in the newsletter for the BID, it'll have a little bit more specific details on what is being billed versus the BDL newsletter that just has our work plan and then a link to go to the website. So that'll be going out. I think we're sending them out this week, so folks should be receiving that soon.
The movie Under the Stars extended programming, is that something that we normally would do? Is that like a
No,
new
so I
thing?
was trying to work with Julian at Parks and Rec to try to figure out what it meant as far as extending programming, how we could help or what that looked like. And I guess the easiest way to do it was to include an additional day for Movie Under the Stars, so extending that program
Okay.
versus trying to come up with a whole brand new event or something to be hosted in Brackenberry or Pioneer Park.
That's just adding another day
Yeah,
of
yeah.
movies. Okay.
And we're able to, so in all of the advertising for that is the Business Improvement District logo. So instead of it being, BDL is supporting whatever,
Okay.
it's the Business Improvement District is extending that. I believe, there we go. So I believe the advertising would start at the beginning of May, and so you'll see the BID logo on all of their advertisements for that program.
Okay, so can we go through the invoices one by one, just so we can match them up to what area they belong in? And there is one that, I think there's two actually, that the board needs to decide if they feel the item fits inside the approved work plan.
So the first one is Neon One. Like I said, that's the CRM program that we use for pretty much everything, all our registrations, keeping track of volunteer hours, our e-newsletter, any type of email campaign, or notices that we need to send out. It's gonna be the same cost, recurring monthly, as it has been. Do you want to approve one by one, or do you want me to just go through them?
Does BDL use this at all?
Yes.
So why is BID paying the whole thing?
That's what was approved when we got it, is to purchase a CRM software program to run everything.
Okay,
Versus what we were doing was on spreadsheets and
right.
emails and all of that.
I knew about that. I just was wondering why the BID is paying for all of it when BDL is also using it. It's just all, I was wondering. There should be a cost share in it, or
Because if
something.
there's a cost share with QuickBooks, then, right?
Well, the QuickBooks charge is solely for the
Oh.
BID account, cause I have to keep it separate so that our books are separate, so that's its own,
Okay.
yeah.
I think the Neon One software was specifically called out in the original work plan that was approved by council as a purchase for the BID, even though it gets used by both, because there's not a.
Right.
I think with that particular kind of software, there's not a way to divide
separate
it.
Yeah.
And then when the BID district goes away, that cost will be absorbed by BDL.
Right.
In total.
I was on the BDL side when it came out, and we talked about it, so I missed all that, yeah. Okay, yeah.
That's right.
So do we need to go down the financials based on this ledger? Or are we, what do you mean?
I would go
Just-
through the actual invoices and let's
Okay.
approve by invoice.
Okay,
I think that makes the most sense.
So do we have a motion to approve the Neon one?
So moved.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, move on to Pacific Empire.
So this next one is an invoice for Dinner in the Dark and First Friday radio ads. We do, I believe it's a $500 a month package, and then we just swap out all of the ads as events are happening. If it's part of the BID, I asked for the invoice to reflect or say BID somewhere in it, but the description gets cut off anyway, so I wanted to make sure to include the check stub in there as well. This is, like I said, the radio ads go on just about, I'm trying to think, all of the McVeigh entertainment stations, and then this was our last push with Pacific Empire, and now we are solely with McVeigh Entertainment.
So on this one, because it includes First Friday ads, I did want the board to discuss this. The First Friday ads are not one of the items that are included in the original work plan, but there is language from what was approved by council that says to increase business promotion and neighborhood marketing. So if the board feels like the First Friday advertising is part of that, then I feel like you can approve this, but that is a decision the board needs to make.
Is it listed in the neighborhood or business promotion, neighborhood marketing right now
Or the,
for the First Fridays?
so, no,
So
so.
First Friday is not specifically called out in what was presented for this year's work plan or what was approved by council.
But it does state
It does just say expansion of,
expansion
yep,
of.
increased business promotion and neighborhood marketing, just as a statement. And then also said continue, and there are specific events listed for this year's work plan.
Continue, since it's a new one this year, I mean, I think it falls into that, I feel like it is promoting our businesses downtown. It's,
We're not using Pacific in the future, you said?
No, so McVeigh Entertainment has given us kind of a flat rate, and we'll put our ads in the best pockets versus Pacific Empire was very specific to only this time on this station. So this gives us the flexibility to either amp up our marketing last minute if we need extra tickets sold or people to come downtown versus, you know, we submit something and then we just have to hope for the best type of thing, so. And it's more affordable, in my opinion, so.
Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve the invoice for Pacific Empire Radio and adding that to the business promotions and neighborhood marketing area for Fridays, is that what I need to say?
Second?
Want to second it, or do you want me to second it?
Right.
I'll second it.
No, I actually am quite confused about this whole BDL and BID thing. And sharing. I mean, I thought BID had a vision and a strategic deal, but it seems like, to me, it's getting boggled in with BDL.
There is a lot of overlap, for
Yeah.
sure.
And so I'm not understanding all of that.
So BDL puts on different events and is our administrator. So there is overlap with events that are BID events, right? They're called out in the work plan for the BID. They are put on by BDL. They organize, they rally all their troops to make the event happen. And a lot of times there is a cost share between the two, where BID pays for a portion of the event to be put on, which includes marketing, event location, different items like that. And then BDL also pays a portion of that to put the event on. So that a lot of them are intermingled because they are shared. But for BID, we have a specific work plan that was approved by council. And that's why when you see the invoices come in from Brenda, she's kind of outlining specifically what they're for, because they need to match the work plan that was approved by council. Because that's what this body is spending money on, is those items that were approved by council. And so that's why I wanted to talk about First Friday, because in the 23 work plan, not that page, it stated increase business and promotion and neighborhood marketing, and then continue dinner in the dark, hot August hoops and downtown tailgate and ladies day out. So those are specific events that are in the 23 work plan that BID is going to pay to put on. But the idea is to, promote downtown in general, so that increased business promotion and neighborhood marketing. That's why I wanted you guys to talk about this is advertising for First Friday, which is the downtown event. Does that fit into that same category? But yeah, it can be very confusing because they do overlap a lot, and a lot of the events are shared events.
Any other discussion? Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let's move on to Parks and Rec movies, Under the Stars.
So in your packet, it outlines what the sponsorship for that additional day includes. And like I said, I submitted the BID logo to be on any printed media for this, so that that can be a little bit more visible. And then I will work with the Parks and Rec department to figure out how we can either mirror their website or figure out another way to kind of get that BID information out. Like I was saying earlier, this was the easier, more cost-effective option versus trying to come up with another brand new event with lack of volunteers and staff. It just made more sense to have an additional movie Under the Stars that already is staffed, rather than trying to find
Are
more
these
people.
still well attended? They used to be,
Yes, they are, yeah.
when they cost $200 to sponsor.
Yeah, right?
So are these not sponsored by individuals anymore?
That I don't know. I know that Julian was looking at different businesses to sponsor, so that you could get a business name out there.
I think they're still sponsored by businesses.
But I think
The ones
it's
I've
just
attended, they
businesses.
usually, announce,
That's what it used to be.
yeah.
Because I remember writing a check for them early on and.
Yeah, because last summer when I took my kids to them,
Pocket, but
Yeah, there's
They'll say
usually a business
sponsor
that's the sponsor for that night.
Yeah. When Dr. Pierce and his wife started that whole thing, then it went to 250 a night or something, but it was started out at 200, so it tells you how
Yeah,
old I am.
I've sponsored it before.
So why do you think it's jumped in price? I mean, I understand inflation
I
and all
don't
that,
have,
but
I think it's just the cost of the movies,
Yeah.
yeah,
right,
for them
right.
to, get the licensing, I would
the
imagine.
licensing.
And I know they've made some improvements to the equipment they
Screen.
use, because they have that big blow-up screen, and before it used to actually be projected on a wall.
Right.
So I would imagine it's things like that, and then, but I think the licensing
Definitely
is probably the biggest part.
Kind of like Civic Theater, the licensing.
Yeah, the licensing for the
just
plays
has
is-
gone crazy.
Can I get a motion? On the Parks and Rec, please?
So moved.
Second?
Sure, second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let's move on to print craft printing.
Okay, this one is for our downtown property tours posters, so this falls into, which area? I believe it is to, commercial residential, so area 1.
Approved property occupancy.
Yeah,
Right.
so it'd be under area 1, so this charge is just solely for the posters that go out. We take them to all the downtown businesses, the credit unions, St. Joe's, LCSC, and then, on Sixth Street in Clarkston to try to, get those tickets sold. We are completely sold out, and then we added a couple extra last minute people in there, so I believe we have 30 people for this tour.
So does
That's incredible.
SEL accept posters like this because they have so many people?
Yes,
within
but
Patty?
so it goes in their break room, but it's kind of like a timed thing, so I can only have it, or they can only have it up for a certain period of time. So we still take them up there. I obviously can't go in the break room and see where they're at, but I've got a few people that work there that send me a quick picture. It's up.
I just know
you
they
can
have
see it, but
New people coming in. and-
yeah.
Can I get a motion for this one?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let's move on to number 5, what's poppin' balloons?
All right, so this is part of our Dinner in the Dark promotion. Last year, I believe it was the full $450. Because it's also, again, a cost share with BDL, we are looking for more ways to do in-kind trade or to trade for a sponsorship level or a partnership level to kind of ease the cost that's being billed to the BID. So we did a trade for the 300 level sponsorship so that the BID is only paying the 150 versus the full amount. I'm finding that a lot more businesses are more excited to do that than to have us, just paid in full, which is a nice cost break for both BDL and the BID. And these guys have been downtown partners for a really long time, so.
A motion on that one?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, let's move on to the Tribune.
So the Tribune, we've got 4 separate ads, digital ads, as well as in the paper for the Lewiston Tribune, Moscow Pullman Daily News, Inland 360, and then all the digital spaces that go along with those publications. So that's what this is covering for both Dinner in the Dark and First Friday.
Took me a second to figure out what DN meant. I was like, oh, it's Daily News.
Can I get a motion for this one?
Do we have to put this First Friday, do we have to talk about that again? Or
No, I
since we
think if
already
you guys
did
have already
one,
talked about it once.
We're good, okay.
Yeah, I just would, since it's not something that's been billed before, I wanted just the discussion to happen, since there were a couple of items that were being billed for that, event.
Since we know that that can be a hiccup in the future, when we do that, maybe we can do it ahead of time. and kind
That's
of
what
talk about it ahead of time.
I was gonna say, hopefully we can get all of this to where we're approving it before you're doing it, So
Yeah.
you're not asking for forgiveness, but you're
Yeah.
getting permission, that'd be good,
Make a motion to approve
We're not
the
taking it out of your big salary.
Tribune invoice.
All right, I have a motion to approve the invoice. Can I get a second?
Yes.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving on to Smirking Goat.
So this is from Brabus and Brox as part of their host for Dinner in the Dark. We, again, going over, so on the invoice, it says that the rental fee is waived at that $2,500 mark. Again, that was an in-kind trade. for them being the presenting sponsor for this event. Last year, I believe the total was closer to about 4,200. And like I said, I'm trying to find other ways that we can do in-kind trade to lessen the invoices that are coming in. So that's what this is covering on this invoice.
All right, can I get a motion?
Was it sold out?
Yeah, we sold out again this year, which
How
is
many?
awesome. We ended up having 62, I believe, for this one. So last year we capped it at 50. This year we opened it up to 80, and then obviously our goal is to meet that 50 again, and then 62 at the final number.
Quality of food, good.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. The
'Cause I think she-
kitchen,
I think
the
she just-
chefs back there are coming up with some really, really incredible combinations of food. So everyone had a really good
I
time.
think she just got the contract for the library gala too.
Oh, okay.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? And the last one, QuickBooks.
This one I feel is pretty
That one should be
self-explanatory.
easy, yeah.
It's just for the software.
Get a motion?
So.
Motion. Or so moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you, Brenda.
Since we're still on invoices, can we discuss the hours that were also included in there since they're not listed?
Sure.
Just to review them, make sure everybody's aware of what's being billed. So just going through on that sheet, this is the hours for March. One thing that I had kind of discussed, I believe, I wanna say it was either January or February's meeting, is not realizing, so if you have a group of 5 people, that's not 1 billable hour, that's 5 billable hours, so that was a learning curve for me. So I'm trying to have people sign in so we have documentation of who participated, who was actually there. So this looks a little bit different than previous, or I guess last year's March. Doing some of additional meetings, making sure that we're communicating the BID with the mayor, and he is very supportive and wants to provide us with more volunteers and just be a support to us in the items that we're tackling. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone reviewed that. If you guys have any questions on any of those, I'm happy to answer that.
Anybody have anything?
Why are there 2 columns? There's not a label at the top.
Oh, so one is supposed to be staff and the other one is volunteer.
That's what I was thinking, but I'm like, but I don't have a label.
Fix that.
Okay, let's move on to discussion of the strategic plan through.
So I just included another, so we've talked about this a couple times now. So this is an updated version from last meeting with a couple of additional items you guys asked for me to add. So I kind of just wanted everybody to look through it, see if there was any other additions or subtractions you wanted to make. And then just for, knowledge base, I included what was presented to council and the minutes from council showing what was approved, just so everybody's on the same page. But I don't know that there's necessarily a lot of discussion that needs to happen. Mostly I just wanted to make sure that everybody did.
This is the updated version.
Yep, did review it, and if you have any other things you wanted me to add, I can do that. And then we'll just continue to look at this on a fairly regular basis as we're moving through our years.
And I like this because when we don't have as much going on, we can really hit this and just okay, did we do this? Where are we at with it?
Yep, and then, I feel like, so there's some heavy event times of the year. And so it's harder to kind of concentrate on this because you're in the middle of doing events. But then as we have those months where it's a little slower, I feel like you can definitely review this and be like, okay, so where are we at? What have we been doing? What haven't we been doing? Do we need to update this? Are we seeing we need to expand in an area because of feedback or whatever? So we'll probably just have this on, maybe not every month, but maybe every other month or every 3 months, just so we can just, keep it in the back of your mind and keep looking at it.
Or you can throw it in
I
when you
think
see the
this-
agenda's short.
Right.
I think these are good because, for example, I wanted to ask a question about, and I see that it would be appropriate here if we work into the discussion eventually. For example, where we have in our porno block down there, we have all of a sudden, all of this stuff that's just one great big white sheet, what's happening there and what's down the road and what that we don't know. And
So I do know that Naughty and Nice will not be reopening at that location, and they've been shut down since the fire. I am not 100% sure where JMS Partnership is at in the reconstruction of that area. They have come in and spoken to the city about it. I'm not positive that
is that Ray?
yes, Ray Skelton. So I'm not positive where that's at in actually being repaired to be,
I think they're close, but they're kind of tied up on sprinklers. And
Yeah,
they're
'cause-
waiting in that part of, they haven't finished it because they're,
yes, so there is some building separation problems, which is why there was a fire. And people using extension cords in not regulated manners. So there's some stuff going on with that building, and so hopefully, I know he has an architect, I know they're working on it, I'm not sure where that's at, but I do know that the Naughty or Nice store is not gonna reopen at that location and is looking for a different location. I don't know for sure about the vape shop, but I know that Naughty and Nice.
I've just been hesitant to ask some of those questions, and then I'm reminded it is part of our work plan, and
Yes.
Anything else on the strat plan? Thank you, Katie, first of all, for doing that. You did a great job.
So this, since we have it laid out, will be, I was kind of waiting for us to meet to make sure that this was all gonna be included. So this will go into the BID newsletter, because I've been asked over and over and over, where is it? So that'll go out to all of our ratepayers, but it'll also be included in the e-newsletter that goes out to about 2,500 subscribers.
You want me to send you the digital version then?
Yes, please.
Okay.
The digital version will go out before the end of this week, and then we'll send out the BID newsletter at the early
Okay,
part
that'll
of
be
next week.
awesome before our meeting.
Yes,
'Cause then
that's
they'll have-
exactly what
great
I
for
want
us
to
to
do
have
now.
questions.
so you don't have to read
Or
it.
get on board more.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So,
Yes, because then I'll just.
All right, anything else on the
Normally
strat?
it's on my computer, but for some reason it's just not downloading today, so.
Anything else on the strat plan? All right, let's move on to the 23 work plan and budget. Brenda?
alrighty. So, since we are talking about the strat plan, our next town hall meeting is on May 9th. Postcards, save the dates if you will, will go out early part of next week. And just to remind people where it's at, what it's about, and then, like I said, the strat plan will go out in the newsletter so that if ratepayers, business owners, and community members have questions, again, just providing another platform for them to ask them publicly so that we can get feedback. The attempt was there in first quarter and nobody really spoke up. It was just a,
That's what I was
Overview.
wondering, is anybody really speaking up and
I mean,
concerned
I-
about where their taxes are going?
right, I get emails asking, hey, what's this doing? And so I will send information, copies of invoices, anything that the board has seen and kind of redirecting them to where the information is, and then it's kind of radio silence for a little while. But I'm continually asked, well, when can we ask questions? So I'm trying to provide people a forum for them to actually stand up and have a face-to-face conversation in a less formal setting. So this, again, is kind of our,
So if you've
Second,
you've
third,
heard from
fourth
3 or 4 people, but you're opening it up to others in
yeah,
case
just, I mean,
somebody's
cause I
gone.
feel like if one person asks a question, there might be 5 other people that wanna ask the same question, they just aren't,
Doing it.
yeah, they're just not standing up and doing it, which is fine. I'm also, I need to confirm with Kari to make sure that we are able to take a video of her presentation so that if somebody wants to watch it after the fact, they can do that as well. Again, just giving people more ways to get the same information so that questions can be answered. There's that level of transparency on what we're doing with the BID. So you'll be seeing those go out.
And we were gonna do like the boards where people could do the
Yep,
stickies
the
on them
sticky
with
notes,
questions.
yep,
So if
we've got-
people don't wanna stand up and ask the question in front of the
Right.
group, they can write it down on a sticky note and put it, we'll have like different boards up saying different things. And you could write your question on a sticky note and stick it up on a board.
Not everybody's good about getting up.
Exactly, so, so there'll be lots of, at the town hall, there will be lots of different opportunities for them to kind of engage in whatever manner they're most comfortable. And I will be there, and Wendy will be there, and Brenda will be there, and,
So are they notified of the town hall meeting?
yeah, they'll get an
Yes.
invitation, that's what this postcard is.
Okay.
And it'll go out in the BID newsletter and then the e-newsletter for all of the subscribers that are on that, which is about 2,500 people, so.
And social media?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I just need to get a final approval from Kari. She's been traveling, so just to make sure that since we are using her photo and her logo, that she approves it before anything goes out, so that's all I'm waiting on. Other than that, everything's set to go. It'll be at Morgan's Alley upstairs in the Orchid Room. And we'll have refreshments and a no-host bar for a little bit more liquid courage, so. And the hope is that whether it's written down, whether they stand up and ask, that the conversations are being had so that we can get that feedback from ratepayers and rather than have, kind of side comments here and side comments here and side comments here. I can only answer so many questions, but if I don't know what those are, then I don't know where to, relay that information, so.
And hopefully if people are like writing comments down, I'm thinking that we'll have like a poster that has like each of the areas from the strategic plan that you guys have developed. And so that would be an opportunity for them to write a question or a comment or an idea on a sticky note and stick it on that board. And then we can bring all of those back to this board and discuss those things and figure out, is there a way to add this to the strategic plan for, the full district? Is there a way to add this to a work plan? Is there a way that something is that we already have planned is kind of covering what their thought is or what they're asking about? Maybe they just don't know about it yet,
Right.
So hopefully we get good participation and we can get some
I know
information out there
most
to
of
people.
them. They're terrible about showing up.
Right, definitely. Is what it is.
I usually get the questions that should be asked at a town hall, after town hall in an email. I'm like, well, you were there, you could have asked the same, but also, another piece of this is just follow-up. I'm gonna try to make sure to document all the questions that were asked, the answers that were given, and then send those out as well, because that might just be, again, another way to answer those questions. Part of that. So that's part of area one where item B, sponsor a forum where subject matter experts, et cetera, so. We'll have another one in third quarter, so right now I'm trying to figure out the best direction to take that, whether we do a similar one again and we kind of review what we talked about in May, or if we need to bring a different person in and talk about something entirely different, what that looks like. So again, having the feedback from ratepayers to know the direction of what they would like presented is gonna be crucial, so. Part of that. So, area one. Area two, so, updates on that would be, so the sunshades, wayfinding, and planters. So, Tim Barker at Parks and Rec has, been coordinating with an engineer to try to figure out the logistics for the sunshades in Brackenberry. We wanna make sure that the posts that are being, installed are gonna be at the right angle so that the sunshades will stay up, even if we have, adverse weather, I guess. My biggest concern was last year, we had put them up and then we had a nice gust of wind and it took it right off of the risers, and those metal clips are huge and very, it hurts when they get, in contact with you, I'll just say that. So we're trying to make sure that those are absolutely secured with whatever hardware that looks like. And then, we have, I believe Knox Concrete is who they are hiring to do that work once, that's established. And we're trying to put those posts in places that aren't going to, obstruct the line of sight to the stage, so that if other groups want to use Brackenberry, they're still utilizing the sunshades, and it's not going to be a hazard or get in the way or any of that. So he's kind of working through some of those details on that. The hope is to have them up and ready to go before we start our summer concert series downtown. But that'll all just kind of depend on construction and what that looks like, so.
So are these permanently up there?
No, so the posts will be permanent, but the sunshades will be taken down, after summer, so during the winter time, so we
That
can
was the
keep
way
it
the roof
nicer.
garden was originally designed for the library, and we ran into the problem of the hooks and the fading and some of those kinds of things that
Yeah.
were a problem, but where you're using them.
So we have, the temporary ones, are kind of like a triangle shape, and so they'll overlap, they'll look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. And then we have one larger sunshade that, the BID, approved purchase, I wanna say the beginning of either last year or the year prior, but it's being custom made to fit on top of the risers so that there's some kind of cover there as well. If you guys have been in Brackenberry, when the sun is out, it reflects off of those windows and then it creates this lovely oven. So we're trying to kind of combat some of that. And I'm working very closely with Seismo Professional Sound to kind of dress up Brackenberry when we do the summer concert series with a backdrop. We'll have the sunshades, just to make it look a little bit more inviting and kind of create a better atmosphere for those that are attending. So that all is part of area 2. I'll move over to wayfinding. So I included the list. I think we had discussed it last time. This is the inventory list of all the signs downtown. So you can see that there's a couple few. So in the notes, we have marked which ones are being asked to be removed. Or you know, are we looking to have certain signs like the 3-hour parking enforced? And I think we're continuing to move on with that. I did sit down with the mayor and 2 of our downtown officers, and they're just kind of waiting for a direction on what we're gonna do, where the signs are gonna go.
So the no bikes, skateboards, roller skates, etc., and the no parking from 2:30 a.m. to 5 a.m., those will all be removed. A work order's been placed with streets. They are gonna actually remove the posts also. Originally, we thought we would keep the posts, but there's 64 of those. And so, yeah, right? 64 are just those 2 signs. And so the discussion with the streets department, just for efficiency of their workload and process, is to remove those. Originally, the thought was that we would reuse those posts to do wayfinding signage, but there's probably not gonna be 64 wayfinding signs, so they felt it would be a better use of their time and more efficient for those crews, cause they are a little short-staffed to just pull the whole thing out. And then once it's determined where we want new wayfinding signage to go, and that'll be discussion between the VDL Design Committee and this committee, then we'll come up with a plan with them to put them back in specific locations rather than just wherever. But that work order is out, so I would expect that we see those signs going down in maybe the next month.
Awesome.
I know that when I originally spoke with them, they were really short-staffed. They had just lost 2 people, and they're only like a 4-man crew. But I know that last week they did interviews, so I'm hoping that new people are coming online soon. And the city engineer came and talked to me a couple days ago about it. And so it's moving forward.
As part of that, in the newsletters that go out, there is a section reminding people where the free parking lots are. It was I was kind of back and forth on whether or not to include that because there's no real enforcement right now for that 3-hour parking. But I am noticing a lot less business owners parking in front of their buildings.
Good.
So
Right.
That drives me
I think,
insane.
I think it's working. It's gonna stay in the newsletter till it doesn't, I guess. Let's, to put it plainly. Just to encourage the availability of parking. There's gonna still be people that have the parking perception issue of there's no parking downtown. Well, it's pretty close. We kind of gauged it. I was going to reference that the same parking stall at Walmart from here to the front door is the same from D Street to Town Square, but I thought maybe that was a little bit of a stretch, so.
I think we've made that has been presented to people before, and it hasn't really gotten people to change their mindset, but.
Right. So I think the more, community members that are discussing it and saying, oh wow, there is parking now because business owners aren't parking on the street, then I think it's more of a,
And just reminding people where the lots are. I mean,
Right.
I think that
Right.
there's just a lack of knowledge.
Mhm.
I always park in the one on F Street if I'm gonna go downtown and I go
Right.
through the back door of whatever business I'm gonna go to and.
right,
I just
That's
tell
hard to
people
me.
they
Yeah.
should go live in Sandpoint because there's no parking on the street.
No, and they even like redid their
Yeah.
parking and there's still no parking on the street. Like,
Pay to park and walk blocks in slush and snow and rain and
all the
everything.
things, yeah.
and they do it happily.
We do
Yeah.
it all the time, yes.
Mhm.
I just wish we had the volunteer corps and that we had a cart that would take about 6 people, even if they were people who were going to their jobs, you know?
Yeah.
They were parking somewhere down by the old First Security Bank or something like that, and you were in that were an employee parking lot, and you were taking people and they use that for your events as well. I just wish we had the volunteer corps pulled together, because I think we could find the money for
The cart.
the cart for the machine, because I really think that, I've seen that in several towns,
Oh, yeah.
and it's really effective. You know, even if they don't use it then, they know it's available to use, so it's kind of one of those psychological things that, oh, well,
Oh, I
maybe
don't
can
need that.
walk that block.
Yeah, I'll walk.
I'll
Yeah,
sit next to
exactly,
walk.
Okay.
exactly. I have been tagged in a lot of golf carts that are being put up for sale. They're like, hey, this would be a great, way to get people around. And I'm like, does it come with a driver? Cause
Right.
they got things to do, Hired. All right, and then still in area 2, planters. So we had discussed the cement planters through Puget Sound Precast, the cost for freight on those as well as the planters themselves. I did set up a few meetings with other vendors at the Main Street Conference, because it's the easiest way to talk to several of them face to face and get pricing right away. And I did get an estimate from Earth Planter, and that would be what's included in your packet. Pictures of it, details of the cost, size. These are self-watering, and so they have a reservoir inside with an overfill spout that comes out the bottom of them versus the side where then you see like the hard water stains coming down the planters, that type of thing. And the largest one would be the equivalent to the size that we're looking at, and they come in various colors. And they can be filled, and then you really don't have to water them as often. So if we are gonna do that, adopt a planter program, it would be less of a burden on business owners. I think more of an incentive to adopt it where they're not having to go out every single day to water them. I believe this would be every,
So that's gonna be the
Once a
property
week.
owners.
yeah, so they'll have the option to adopt the planter that's in front or near their entrance if they would like. We're still gonna supply all the, flowers and everything that go in them, unless they also want to do that will be an option. And then we can get a plaque that goes on the planter that says, courtesy of Coldwell Banker, let's say. I know that there's a planter right there. And just give business owners a little bit more incentive to invest in, the beautification of downtown.
For watering their flowers.
Yeah. So this was a great option. The freight cost is a lot less because they're so light when they're not filled. They're just a hollow, they're just a hollow vessel.
Why is the bat phone ringing?
So, and like I said, the other piece of this is that they're not having to water it every day. It's gonna be maybe once a week, if that, depending on weather. Obviously, the hotter it gets, the more often they'll need to.
So you're thinking that's a more attractive option?
Absolutely. And it'll save us a lot more versus, I mean, the cement planters were, I believe, 550 pounds a piece. So we were paying more just to get them here. The other concern was when we're doing any type of construction downtown and we need to move those, they're a lot easier to break or to chip because they are cement. And so if we're using a forklift, we're having to have a whole crew. Moving one is a little bit more difficult versus these ones, we can actually put them on either a wooden or a PVC platform that allows for a forklift to just move. A lot easier, less weight, that type of thing. So I wanted the board to kind of review those. Any discussion,
Do any of
questions?
those have lift interiors or so you don't have to fill the whole thing with dirt?
Yes, so they are, and I believe it
That's
shows,
the first one, is that what I was looking at? I thought maybe that was what that was.
let's see.
I don't know what they call it, but it's.
So on each of these, and the ones that we're looking at, obviously all of them are listed on here, but the ones that we're looking at are the urban base series, so the third one down on this sheet here. So it'd be these ones right here.
Because we want that 36-inch.
Yeah, so we want that
anything-
bigger, fuller, but there, it's only, I think it would be urban base 41. And the soil capacity is 7.2 cubic feet.
So are you gonna have to have this rebid, if you decide to do the concrete? Because I noticed it's good through 4/1, which is expired.
Right, yep, so they would, I mean, cause freight costs are gonna change anyway, so that's,
Right.
the cost of the actual planters themselves is gonna stay the same. But we're looking at updating the freight costs depending on what that would look like, so. I have talked to Tim, I need to send him this item. I just quickly sent him a message and said, hey, this is what we're looking at. And he was also of the opinion that this would be a little bit easier to move if we do need to move the planters anywhere. It would be as easy as pulling the water plug out of it and then just moving it that way and then refilling it with water.
So the accessibility for, or I mean the availability of these, is it,
So-
are we gonna be saying 6 months a
So they
year?
ship, I wanna say 3 to 5 business days.
Oh
So
my goodness.
we're looking at a quick turnaround.
Much faster. Okay.
I believe on one of
So your
the,
conference probably paid for itself.
it was a long day because it was just from one vendor to the next to try to get as much information as possible. But it absolutely was worth the information that we got for it. Let's see on here, I believe,
You said 41 was the one you were looking at.
yes, 41. And again, if we do decide to move forward with these, I would have to ask them for another proposal just for shipping purposes, because those expire after 30 days. I thought on one of these it told me the turnaround as far as shipping, but I believe it was 3 to 5 days, because they're all, they're made, so we don't have to worry about custom ordering or any of that.
So I'm looking at this, it says special order early incentives applied for minimum order 24 and then ends for 14.
Yeah,
So
so
does that mean we need to vote on this to order them, or what are we doing here?
ideally, yes, the cost difference, and I think that's also in your packet, was one of them. misquote it.
For the 41, it says $3,150 via FedEx Freight Economy.
Right.
So for a total for 24 of the urban base 41 brownstones, total cost is $15,126.
So the,
And that's the one that says special order incentives applied for minimum order with or ends for 14/23.
We don't have to do, you don't have to do special arrangements to try to figure out what truck is empty and what truck is full.
no, because it comes directly from their factory. They don't necessarily do any, like freight cost share. So if we order, all of it's included and they just ship it to us and we're done with it. As far as storage, that was another concern with the cement planters. They can't, be stacked as easily. So, being able to store these until we're ready to put them out will be a lot easier as well, just of how light they are and stackability and all of that. They do come on pallets as well, so.
So how much do you think you're saving by the end of this?
So, I should have probably put that together, for totals. So if we were to,
Recast, let's see, 22, then by 365.
Will we still be doing 24 of them?
It says 22 on the bid sheet, just so you know.
Oh.
We can change it.
Yeah, less than 22 is more, more than 22 would be.
oh, on that one.
Okay.
So the
24 is our
24,
estimated.
22 would be installed, but we would have 2 additional ones in case one is broken or when it gets moved, something breaks on it, so we can easily send that back in, have it, the warranty cover that, but we still have a planter out and available here. So we're
Somebody
not
will run
waiting.
one over or
Yeah.
something.
It's actually cheaper to do the concrete ones, it looks like. Yeah, so for 20,
Yeah, it looks like it's about 12.
12.7 or whatever, depending, if you estimate high on the shipping.
Yeah, if you went with the 4,000 shipping, for 24 of them at that 365, it's, 12,760.
So $2,300 difference.
And it's
$400
$15,126 for 24 of the urban brownstone.
That is $2,400 worth. Carry these things and move them.
Right, yeah, I guess that's what we have to
Repair
decide.
and stuff too.
Right, cause the pricing obviously on both of these is not gonna include, the soil, the flowers, the water, the crews that are moving them, installing them, all of that. I did contact the master gardeners, I believe that's the what they're called, through UI Extension, and they gave me a really great, like, how to care for, these are all the plants, pick one, and it gives you instructions so that we can choose the plants that are going in here a little bit wisely, I guess, so that we're not replacing them every year because they're empty and they don't come back. We want something that's gonna be alive year-round, or at least look presentable year-round. We're gonna invest in
Native
these.
plants.
Yeah,
Okay, so the group needs to decide if you want to vote on one of the two options, or if we're asking for additional information to come back, or what?
I'd love to see us get moving ahead.
Yeah, do we know, we don't know the timeline on these precast, the concrete ones, right? 'Cause
so
they-
as soon as we purchase them, then I would know a time frame on when they would, because they're being custom built, they're for what we're wanting.
But how long are you figuring on storing them before they're actually gonna get put out in places?
It'll depend on when we physically get them. If the crews are ready to put them out, they still have to take the planters that are out there. They still have to tear them down and figure out where they're putting that soil, how we're gonna take the plants and the ones that are actually, viable and are coming back every year, how are we gonna store those?
But are
Who's
you
gonna
talking
take care
about
of?
this year or?
The hope was this year, if we can get planters here, we could probably get a few out, but with different construction projects going on, we don't wanna put them all out and take the time to build them up nice and then have to put them
So
back
you're
in
kind of
construction, so,
More of next year then.
yeah, I believe so,
Maybe a half and half kind of deal.
yeah.
Some of them
now.
would go, yeah, some of them would go out now.
Mhm.
And the further down.
It'll be like
later.
a progression.
Yeah.
But I think we could definitely, because we've talked about, replacing existing ones, but
Mhm.
the idea is to order more than what is existing, right?
To put,
To continue
figure out
pushing,
where-
yeah,
yes,
continue
what-
pushing them down farther into some of those kind of desert areas of downtown farther as you get down towards 17th. So I think that those ones could definitely go out, because you're not looking at removing something or storing anything or any of that kind of stuff. So it might be something where you see the progression from 17th moving
Yeah,
This way.
back
this way.
this way.
Yeah.
It's just that some of them are so falling apart right now.
yeah, and the sooner we can
Well, we could do
get
like
those down,
project,
the
yeah.
less of a mess it's gonna be, because the fiberglass in there, you can go like this and just poke your finger through it, and
Well, and it's fiber, it's so
one
hard
wrong
to deal
move,
with.
and that whole
once
planter
it
is gonna be
decomposes.
on
So do we wanna make a
the ground.
decision today, or do we want to, wait for more information?
What's the more information we'd be waiting
More
for?
concrete about, weren't you gonna, times and verify prices and
So
all that?
for the cement, the ones from Puget Sound, I won't know shipping unless we approve to
Order.
purchase them.
Yep.
These ones, it's as soon as we order them, we'll have them within a couple weeks.
So did you get to see a sample of
I
them?
did, and they're beautiful. I thought they were cement, and then I saw the guy pick it up with his hand, and I went, well, that's, can't be
So
cement.
are they gonna
So-
have to be, so if they're not real heavy like the cement, are they gonna have to be attached somehow to?
Because with the soil and the water that's in them, they're heavy enough that
They're gonna
they're not
be-
gonna be
that'll weigh them down.
movable, so, yeah.
What are you thinking?
I'm leaning towards the ones that are gonna be easier to move around. I know
They're
the
just
cost
as
is,
attractive.
yeah, cost is higher, but I think, just the amount of touching that is gonna have to happen over the next,
The long-term cost isn't as
Yeah,
much, but.
yeah. And the fact that we can get them a lot faster and maybe start replacing those things a little quicker.
You don't expect this material to decompose.
It talks about it in one of the,
Yeah, I was gonna say, and like this first page has all of their little,
Looked at it but didn't.
it talks about.
the
The more great
warranty.
stuff.
Well, it's 5 to 10 years. No, lifetime warranty.
Yeah, so these ones have a lifetime
Yeah.
warranty, and the thing says, does the competition have that? It says
Right,
no.
no.
Right.
It's the only manufacturer to offer this quality promise, these last planters you ever purchase. I mean, I hope that's true, I doubt that, but.
Yeah, I know.
But that sounds pretty good.
Well, I'd rather be putting our money into these than putting it into the transportation, that's for sure. Quality, just.
Okay, so we're all in agreement that, because she can get going on it, then we can
Yeah.
approve it
I
today.
move that we accept the earth planners as proposed, Urban Vase 41 for purchase and delivery to BDL.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, can I just sign this and give it to you? Or you got one I can sign? Do I have to sign the worksheets?
I will,
Okay.
no,
Because it's in the minutes.
way more, not only that, but I need to put all the information from Earth Planter, because this is based on the
I was just looking at this, yeah.
So, yeah.
I was just gonna
I was like,
attach it and call it
it's not
good,
even
yeah.
current.
All right, awesome.
All right, let's
Okay.
keep going, we do
Yeah.
have another meeting in this space at 10, so
Okay,
Yeah,
we need to hustle. Okay.
That was really it, right?
that was it on that.
Promotion.
Marketing, I think that was actually all, I don't believe I have any additional, updates.
So, on the banners, have those been ordered?
Yes,
Okay, so
Yep.
we're good there. And I think we already talked about administration stuff when we talked about, invoices, so I think we're good there. Okay, board member comments.
any?
just was curious, have you had any comment from the businesses that are impacted right now by the construction that's going on?
Yes, I've been fielding quite a few questions on why didn't you let us know that this was happening and my business is being blocked and this, that, and the other thing. I'm trying to find a better way to get that information. I know it can change on a daily basis and then, similar to, you know, anything to do with construction, you don't know what you're getting into until you get into it.
I'm thinking we need a strategy down the road to be able to have those conversations, because we're gonna have more and more construction, and it's gonna
Right.
become more and more especially as you get to smaller businesses in,
And those that don't
These
have a
areas.
back entrance, like, you know, all the F Street businesses are like, well, if there's construction, just come in on this side. Well, there's other businesses that don't have that, opportunity, so I just need to find a way to get that information to then be able to answer those questions. However, that was the whole purpose behind bringing in community development, public works, and parks and rec, for folks to actually ask those questions face
just
to
that
face.
so many of those businesses are living on margins that are
Yeah.
small.
Was it on the city site? Cause when I finally found the letter, so I got the letter,
Not
but I
the
didn't.
stuff that's happening currently, because
No.
that's an Avista project.
Right.
It's not a city project at all.
Uh-uh.
So the city just announced their water project, which is from Jefferson.
Okay,
that-
so I got that, then I
Yeah.
immediately went to the website and couldn't find it, cause I wanted to know more information. And so I'm wondering if it's not on the site, and that could help, you know,
Yeah.
for some people
Yeah,
to know.
I can reach out to our public information officer, she should be the one, putting that information on the
Yeah,
site.
unless it's there and I
Okay.
just didn't find it, but I thought, okay, that's
Well,
the
and
first
that
place
can,
I gotta
that can
go.
just be a comment to her that it should be in a more accessible location, cause I bet you it's somewhere on Public Works'
So
site.
I've already done this once, I don't, I'm gonna do it twice.
Oh, you don't have to do it again, you've already done it.
Oh,
We're moving
So
on to
have I.
staff comments, apparently.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm-
Staff comments.
I'm hustling
Katie's
here.
like, we
This is
gotta
Katie-
go.
This is Katie's meeting today.
I take it back.
That's awesome.
This one doesn't have typos on it though.
Oh,
You wanna see
good.
it's not typos?
No.
You saw the ghetto one before. This is the new one.
Thank you.
This is my own asinity, come on.
You know, sometimes you just have to hustle through things
You
and
just have to know what creatures you're working with.
Okay, so, this is our comprehensive plan questionnaire. So as you may know, or you may not know, City of Lewiston is embarking on a rewrite of their comprehensive plan. So comprehensive plan is a 20-year planning document, that is required by the state of Idaho. It covers 17 areas of stuff, that cities have to provide a plan or a direction for. So our last comprehensive plan was done in 1999. This is a complete rewrite instead of just an update because it has been so long. We have a steering committee that is working on it along with a consultant. And it is called Envision Lewiston 2044, with the idea that it'll be approved next year by city council and we'll push this out for 20 years to 2044. So in phase one, we are doing a lot of outreach to community members, so all boards and commissions are being touched. I get to visit all of them, so fun for me. And we're doing this questionnaire. So questionnaire is also available on the city website. I have cards and posters for people who want to put them in their businesses. I gave, yes, I gave Randy the card yesterday. All of her emails go to my spam for whatever reason, so like,
It's
it
off
popped
and
up in
on.
spam and then I just ran.
Sometimes they go
And I-
through,
and I gave
sometimes
them
they
to
go
her,
to
so-
spam. Exciting.
Century 21 has a poster, you guys have cards, if you would like cards or a poster for Jones, I will send them with you. So I want us to do this together right now, and you're gonna give me the paper at the end of the meeting,
Oh.
so. So get out your ready
Do you want a
pencil.
second?
Or do you just want the one on?
Do you want a
yeah,
second one from me?
Or do you just want the one that's online?
Did you already do it online?
Yeah,
Okay.
cause it was easy.
Yeah,
to
it was
do.
like
Okay,
way
if
easier
you've already,
online.
if you've already done it online, that's fine. Otherwise, you get to fill it out. I don't know if Tammy's done it yet or not.
I did, but I don't think it counted when, during.
If you did it during the
committee.
steering committee, that didn't count,
Okay.
because that was like the tester one.
Yeah.
So that doesn't go to the actual place. And then Dennis did it with HBC last week, so. And what best describes your relationship with Lewiston? That's kind of an obvious question, so you either live, work, or study here, you live here full-time, you live here part-time, you're a student, you work here full-time, you work seasonally, you own or run a business, you check all the ones that apply to you. How long have you lived, worked, or studied in Lewiston? You select the year range that applies to you. If you've been here less than 5 years, you would answer 2A. If you were just a visitor, you would answer 2B. If you're also a visitor, you would answer 2B1, which is if you find the valley welcoming or not. Number 3 is what do you love most about Lewiston? So you can choose your top 3: family-friendly environment, small town feel, strong sense of community, quality of life, outdoor recreation, waterfront, job opportunities, housing affordability, four-season fun, educational opportunities, etc.
Whereas don't have to shovel. Oh, right there, don't have to shovel, okay, good. I'm from Sandpoint, that's what I love about here, I don't have to shovel.
No snow.
No snow.
Snow.
So number 4, so the city of Lewiston was granted a grant. We were awarded a grant from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Idaho, which includes a health aspect to the comprehensive plan, which is an extra thing that not all communities do. So, and number 4, those are questions specifically to health. So the idea behind those questions are: to what extent do you think Lewiston and the services, programs, housing, economic options, community cohesion, public spaces, and recreation supports the following health and well-being elements for you? So this is for you personally. So there's physical, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, social, housing and economic, and then environmental. And so you choose either not at all, somewhat, or very much. And if you have comments regarding those items, you would put that in comments. Number 5 is recognizing that change takes time. What should Lewiston's focus be to maximize positive impacts over the next 10 to 20 years? Remember, 20-year plan. So we're looking to get to that 20-year point. You choose your top 5 of those items. And then specifically, if you choose the second to last one, which is maintain and expand roadway connections and public utilities for land development, they would like for you to be specific to what area or roads or utilities you think need to be expanded, maintained, or developed. And then what do you want Lewiston to be known for in the future? You would choose your top 3. And then the rest are how to contact you if you would like to be further involved in the future. There'll be 3 phases to the plan. So this is phase 1. It'll last until about the end of May with outreach. We'll be doing some public events. You'll see us in a lot of public spaces. We'll be doing the survey, and then all of that information will get kind of tabulated by the consultant. And then in late July, beginning of August, phase 2 will start, and there'll be a second phase of public outreach. There'll be another survey that takes this information and kind of brings it into more specific questions that will drive those pieces of the plan as they're being developed. And then phase 3 will be actual review of the plan and input on that part before it goes to council for approval. So that's the
People
plan.
can fill it out this way too. on
Yep.
paper.
People can fill it out this way. I have lots of paper copies. If you have the card, QR code takes you to the city website. There's a link directly to the survey. So that's another way. I'm trying to hand out as many of these bad boys as I can. I have posters if you want posters, like I mentioned.
How long is the survey open for?
Survey will be open until May 14th at midnight.
Oh, okay. I thought I had to fill it out now.
I mean, you can.
She's just trying to make sure you get it
So
done.
today,
You can turn it in later.
Do you want me to take any to like the museum board or the LTPA people?
Yeah, you definitely could.
So how do I get those from you?
I will give them to you after this.
You what?
I will give them to you after this.
Okay.
Okay, that's all I got. Oh, and then regular meeting in May is on May 11th.
You know that I won't be here, right?
Yes. Yeah, because you're
Now, if
gone.
you want me to try to call in on the 11th, I will be, Zoom in. I'll probably be someplace where I can do that as long as my wife doesn't know I'm doing it.
How about you just like take your vacation and
Well, I don't want you to be without a quorum though.
vacate? Well, we'll just
So, but,
encourage the others to
Yes.
join us.
Doug did respond.
but
so.
you could text me if you thought we were gonna have a quorum problem.
Okay. I will keep that in mind. So otherwise, anyone else not able to attend the May 11th meeting? Y'all think we're good?
I'm just doing a little medical leave there, guys.
As you should. Okay, very good. And then, I guess last reminder is that we do still have an open position I'm probably gonna do the letter that I did at the end of last year to go out to all the ratepayers again, looking for another person, because I'm not real sure how else to generate interest. So
Yeah.
if anyone else knows a ratepayer who might wanna come join us, please encourage them to do so.
Would Hillary be
um,
interested at all?
Who?
Hillary?
I don't know.
I mean, I could talk to Hillary, we're partners, on a building downtown. I think she had said, I don't think she wanted to be on this last time I talked to her.
I'm just trying to think of people, and I don't think Liz is doing anything yet. She's
Yeah.
still with children.
Will you give me the verbiage of that letter so I can include it in the BID newsletter?
I will email that to you also.
Any administrative comments? Okay, I say we are adjourned. Oh, no, I need a motion for adjournment, sorry.
Second.
That was super fast, though.
You were super
Can I get a
fast. That was
second?
impressive.
All right.
I wrote you
All in
a
favor?
membership
Aye.
check.
All right.
I know that I